Have you ever accidentally caught someone naked? If so, what's the story? My friends and I were like 7 and playing tag, so I ended up chasing him into his mom's room and ended up seeing some nips that day. Merida, Mexico. Check in at front desk of hotel and give us key to the room. Walk in on one of the maids working her side gig entertaining a client. Got a free upgrade to best room in the place. I was hanging some photo on the wall for my now ex-GF. I heard her sister leave the bathroom after taking a shower but didn't think much of it. Hearing her approach, I turned to look out of the bedroom door and caught her totally naked walking from the bathroom to her room. She didn't realize I had come to the house, so she screamed and called me a gorilla. Then frantically ran to her bedroom to cover up. Whoops __/. Well, I have to know now. Are you a gorilla? When I was visiting a primary school and was talking to the principal in his office, I saw a beautiful naked woman parading in her house at the opposite side of the garden behind the school big windows. Second floor, as was the principal's office. I told the principal and he laughed. She always did that, and even the 12-year-old kids in the classroom next door got used to her and had stopped caring. He had checked with the police to see if they could do something about it. But as it was her own house, they couldn't. If I were the principal, I'd say I checked with the police too. I was at my girlfriend's house. It was at night. We were sleeping on the first floor, while her parents were sleeping downstairs, near the kitchen. Thing is, I got a little thirsty, so I decide to go in the kitchen for water. While I'm entering the kitchen, it turns out that her mother, who was naked, had the same idea. We entered the kitchen in the same time. In front of each other, the two entries to the kitchen face each other, so we looked at each other and got the FCK back to our rooms. It was not funny on the moment, but speaking of it with everyone the morning after, we had quite a laugh. Second story. When I was in high school, I was going to the gym. Everybody knew each other, and the showers were not closed. Only between sexes guys showered with the other guys, etc. So once my sport is over, I decide to go take a shower. So I get naked, take my stuff and go to the shower room. Once entering, I don't really look around and I hear someone saying my name. It was one of my teacher from high school. It was pretty weird at first, but we talked like we had our clothes on. Thinking of it was also funny. Well, aren't you just the nude story fountain? Both are excellent. At this point I'm scared to go anywhere in the nude because I might run into op. Showing apartments. We gave them 24 hours notice and knocked with no response. Went in, guys was naked on his couch asleep. I just backed up back down THR hallways and I got out before the potential resident could see him. He wasn't asleep. He just couldn't be bothered cleaning for an open house. So if I don't want to do something, I should just show up naked. Got it? My next court date will be easy. I work as a handyman. I went to a house to install smoke detectors in bedrooms. I arrive and a woman lets me in and I tell her that I will be entering all of the bedrooms and I ask her if anyone else is home. She says no. The first bedroom that I enter has a naked dude asleep on his bed. On my way out, I inquire from the woman why she told me no one else was home. She apparently forgot about the sleeping naked dude. Nobody can forget about the naked sleeping dude. I was at a school camp and went around the side of a building looking for a toilet. As I turned a corner, I quickly jolted back as I realized a female classmate was changing and had only a shirt on. That was my first real-life glimpse of ass and it was glorious. Do you happen to know why she was changing outside? I was backpacking and I came across another hiker who had just been skinny dipping and was sitting on the ground naked to dry off. I stopped to chat for 10 minutes because I had stayed by myself the last couple nights and was starved for human interaction. Figured he wouldn't mind because being a free spirit was kind of the default on the trail, and he made no move to get dressed. Just sat in a way that granted some coverage. We ended up hiking together for a few days and he later mentioned how he had felt pretty awkward. Oops. Also ended up giving him a multi-hour lift back when we finished. So there no hard feelings. How you doing, Joey? Aside from family, I stayed at a friend's house and saw her topless. She is actually rather hot. And her hair covered her boobs like a mermaid. Turned out she has a relaxed attitude to nudity and doesn't see it as inherently sexual. She didn't mind. Did you cuddle? Do you think she is still there? I would hope so for my friend here. I've got a friend who has mild brain damage from a car accident. He can function but cannot do DIY tasks. He and his family were on holiday, so I took the opportunity to do his DIY for him, as he's a proud man and doing it while he's there never felt right. So I'm up the ladder fixing a rotted window frame when his naked daughter 19 came into the room from the shower. She's at uni and didn't go away with them. We both saw each other. Screamed and both ran and hid. I'm her godfather and have known her dad since we were 8. I left him a voicemail straight away telling him what happened. When he got back he was in hysterics trying to imagine our faces while we just stood there screaming at each other. Looking back, it was humiliating and hilarious at the same time. The family made when I was 10 years old. She just came out of the shower and quickly shut the door when I saw her. Turns out that my dad was shagging her LMAO. The ending caught me off guard. My twin sister. I didn't know she was in the shower when I opened the bathroom door. She was just getting out. I was like 15. Well, now you know what you'd look like as a girl. Who needs Snapchat filters? Stepsister had the door open as I walked past. I glanced over. Saw her. She panicked. I continued on my way. I didn't think much of it and never said anything. We never spoke about it. Nothing like the simulations. Not naked, but when I lost my chip to access school I went to my homeroom teacher to ask for a new one. He shares his office thingy with our math teacher. I knocked and heard come in, so I opened the door and the math teacher was sitting there trying to put his pants on. He said something and I didn't really hear what, but I assumed he told me to get out, so I yeeted out. I was speed walking half across the hallway when he peeked out of the door with his pants half down, yelling at me to come back. Math classes were really awkward for me since then. Sounds like class was kinda nuts. Mathematical nuts. Walked in on my stepsister naked. Didn't know she was in there and needed to shower before going out. There was no noise or anything because she turned off the water and she was just stepping out of the shower as I opened the door. What did you do, stepbro? Walked out. What was I supposed to do in this situation? True. It's not like she was stuck in the dryer or anything. I saw a fat guy run naked in public when I was in the Midlands 7 years ago. The image is still etched in my brain. I didn't need to see that. That's why you are still horny? Nope. I shudder at the thought of the image. Is that like a horny shudder or a non-horny shudder? I am leaning towards the horny shudder. On holiday with family friends at age 7, and my brother and I joined them at their hotel room to watch Free Willy with kids our age. As I was sitting there, mother walks out of the shower with a towel around her head and completely naked. The movie ended. Went back to our room and pretended nothing happened because my parents would freak and probably not going to let us go over anymore, but the kids had Power Rangers on tape. I wasn't going to risk Power Rangers. Thankfully my little brother didn't see. Kid was a snitch. The kids saw their mother naked and acted as if nothing happened. Damn priorities. When I was in high school I was dating a girl from a different school that I met through a friend. She lived at a nudist colony. One night she invited me over to pick her up and go out. But she wanted me to meet her parents. She assured me they'd be clothed. They were having a party and roasting a pig outside. It was winter in Florida. Which means temperatures in the 70s and dark by 5:30. When I got there she took me into the living room and went to get her parents from the yard. When they came back in, they were both completely naked except for shoes. And her smoking hot mom was wearing 4-inch tall pumps which put her amazing tits right in my face as she hugged me. Then I had to shake her dad's hand. My mind went ballistic trying not to look at them but also trying not to look like I was trying not to look. Then they took me out back and introduced me to everyone else at the party. All naked. Not really accidental. But definitely weird. What happened to assuring you they'd be clothed? The shoes were the clothes. Not quite, it was actually the other way around. I was in the bathroom in the process of getting dressed after having a shower when a friend of mine opened the door to the bathroom. So he opens the door, realized I didn't have clothes on, closes his eyes and shuts the door. Then from the other side of the door goes, "I'm so sorry, the door wasn't locked so I didn't think anyone was in here. I'll just go pee outside, and again I'm so sorry." I got dressed and we never spoke of it again. Don't people lock the doors anymore? Haven't you people ever heard of closing a goddamn door? No. It's much better to face these kinds of things with a sense of poise and rationality. I work apartment maintenance. I got a work order that I was authorized to go into the unit without the tenant being there. I did the same protocol I always do. I knocked 3 separate times, identifying myself as maintenance each time. No answer. I let myself in. Walked all the way to the back bedroom where the problem was. And then I hear her bathroom door opening from between myself and the entry door. She walked out. But naked. She was maybe 65 or so. She screamed. I screamed. We all screamed for me to GTFO of there. She didn't complain or anything. But now she tries to talk when I see her. I'm just gonna say it. Her titties were still nice and supple for an old lady, lol. I'm dead. Not naked. But when I was in 10th grade I was the first kid into the classroom and my teacher hot for an older lady. Probably younger than I am now. In retrospect was walking around straightening the desks. She tried to step over / past a chair and her skirt got caught on it and flipped up just high enough for me to see her undies. Crazy how some memories are immediately burned into your memory for life. Surprised face, a core memory. In my freshers week at uni, I walked in on one of my flatmates. She had taken some substances and had disappeared into her room. So I knocks on her door asking if she's all right. No answer. So I walk into her room and hear the distinct sound of someone throwing up. So I open her door and find her naked. In her shower. Covered in her own vomit. Just staring at me. I could never quite look at her the same way. Thank beep she didn't remember it. For a time I was a cleaner at a military base. Including cleaning the gym's locker rooms. Soldier chicks don't care if anyone is working in there. They really don't. Undefined. No, I wasn't. I've been caught naked. When I get too drunk I tend to abandon the party and sneak off to sleep. It was my 30th birthday party. And I have this particularly peer pressure Y friend who was there. It was around 1 a.m. I was absolutely blitzed. And I thought that if I stayed up any longer things would end poorly for me. So I snuck off to bed. I often sleep naked. While lying in bed, still awake at this point, I hear my friend scream from downstairs, "Where did that moth go?" And I know it's only a matter of time before he starts searching the house for me. In my drunk brain, I assumed that if he came upstairs, opened my bedroom door, and saw my bed empty, then that would be the end of the search of the room. So I scrambled into my closet and sat Indian style in my dirty laundry hamper. He comes upstairs with the entire rest of the party in tow. Looks in my room. Sees the bed empty. And immediately heads towards the closet. It had slats so I could track his progress. Needless to say, they found me sitting there. Saw my mom naked when she was getting dressed in her room. I drank bleach to forget. Then some while later, years I believe, I walked in on my parents beeping in the dark. Time for more bleach. At least you're immune to corona now. So you've got that going for you. Which is nice. I don't know. Trump said I was supposed to inject the bleach. Not drink it? Drinking it is better. Now not only are you immune to coronavirus, but you would walk unscathed if a Toyota Corona hit you. Was cleaning at work and knocked on the women's changing room to make sure I was allowed to enter. All was fine. So I walk in on a topless colleague and it took about a second and a half to realize what's just happened. I apologize and leave. She says it's okay, but it's not, so I leave, and then when she eventually comes out she offers me a pastry. Still flustered, I declined. I really shouldn't have declined. Oh boy. Finally a place for this story. Many moons ago, I was a cop in the military. One of the guys I worked with, Graham, had a truck that he was gonna let me borrow in order to move some furniture to my new place. He gave me his address. Let's call it 21 Illinois Street. I show up and knock on the door a lot, but there is no answer. And after he doesn't reply to my text, I assume he's doing something inside, so I check the doorknob. It's unlocked. I go inside, and just as I shut the door behind me, I see the largest dog that has ever lived staring me down from the end of the hallway. Looks like a pit bull mixed with a rhinoceros. It charges me. I try fumbling with the doorknob, but it's beeped up and I can't figure it out in time before the dog pounces on me and luckily starts furiously licking me. Apparently this dog is as friendly as he is ginormous. I pet the dog as my adrenaline calms down and I prepare to curse out Graham for not letting me know in advance that he has a small mammoth as a pet. I call out to Graham a few times, looking around for him downstairs and in the backyard. I don't find him, so I walk up the staircase. Now, I know Graham is married, but I have never seen his wife. Graham is a great guy, but he is you'd call conventionally attractive. I don't know what I expected, but it certainly wasn't this absolutely gorgeous woman who walks out of the bathroom at that moment completely naked save for the towel wrapped around her hair. She sees me just a fraction of a second after I see her. Screams. Covers herself up with her hands. I got a full frontal view. I immediately cover my eyes and say, "Oh my God. I'm so f***ing sorry." Then I turn and walk downstairs, kicking myself for getting into the situation. I can't help but think that Graham is some low-key prodigy / wunderkind or something though, because this woman is so far out of his league it's like a toddler from a daycare t-ball team playing for the Yankees. After a minute, she comes downstairs wearing the towel and asks me what I'm doing here. I tell her that I'm here to borrow Graham's truck so I can move some, which she responds that she thinks I am in the wrong house. I pull out my phone and show her no. Graham texted me 21 Illinois Street and I saw the big 21 on the door. She informs me that we are on Oregon Street. Illinois is the next street over. The color drains from my face as I say, are you telling me that I just wandered into some random woman's house and saw her naked? To which she replied, you did. While giggling. I stammer out more apologies while she keeps laughing at me. And we banter a bit about how worthless her dog is at protecting the home. Turns out her doorknob is broken so she can't lock it. Eventually I guess I should go now. As I turn to leave I have a crazy thought. I turn back and say, you know what? This is a bat's peep crazy story. If it ends here, that's totally fine. But I kind of want to see if it goes anywhere. So if you wouldn't mind, I could write down my number for you and you can text or call me later if you want to go out sometime. To which she replied that she would like that and went to get a paper and pen. I figured that writing down my number and leaving wouldn't put more pressure on the situation since she could reach out to me if she wanted to, as opposed to asking for her number directly. I wrote it down and left, feeling a complex mixture of emotions but ultimately kind of a badass since I normally didn't have the stones to make a move like that. Then I went to Graham's real place to tell him the story. And he did not believe me until mid-conversation I got a text from her saying that I owe her a dinner now. From that moment on Graham thought I was some kind of demigod and told everyone who would listen that I was a female whisperer. I wish I could say that were true and this story would end with me proclaiming that she is my wife now. But I fumbled the follow-up and things with the woman fizzled after a couple dates. She was awesome. It was a real great white buffalo situation for me.